What habits do you have? What habits do you have that have molded you into the person you are today? There's a lot of habits out there, but today I'm going to share with you the 10 habits of successful actors. You want to get a pen and a piece of paper or a notebook for this because these are really good and they're going to help you. Number 10 of actor success habits. Here it is. What is your empowering story? What story of your life is empowering, is compelling, is it interesting? Does it draw people in? Does it draw you in? Do you still remember it with a lot of wistful happiness? Everybody has a story. Now, how important are stories? Actors, okay? We are storytellers. We tell the stories of other people, don't we? That's what draws us in. We want to express ourselves through another person's story. And it's fascinating. People remember stories. They don't necessarily remember words. They don't remember strategies, although strategies and techniques for acting is very important. I'm not negating that. But right now, number 10 is, what is your empowering story? What makes you unique? What sets you apart? I can remember, I'll give you my example of my story. When I first moved to New York City in 2009, I had panic attacks off and on because I came from the Mitt, Michigan, went over to New York City. New York City, if you're familiar with it, if you're not, go visit it. It is like landing on another planet. It's the truth. Where do I start? It is the melting pot of the world. Every possible culture and race is there, okay? And there's so many different diversities and cultures and beliefs and languages. And to me, it was fascinating, but at the same time, it was a little overwhelming because I come from a suburban area. I grew up in Michigan on the neighborhood street, sort of like Leave It to Beaver, okay? If you're familiar with that show. And it was a culture shock for me. It took me a few months to acclimate myself and to get situated, walking through those towering landscapes and being near the ocean. That was another thing that I had to adapt to, was the salty air. And the storms and the winters and things like that are, well, they can be cruel in a way. But the wonderful thing that helped me is New Yorkers are used to that, okay? So I, as an actor, as you know, you observe what's going on. You observe and listen to other people's stories. You talk to them. You reach out. Mind you, this is in 2009. And I connected with different people. Different people like myself and different people not like myself because I was just plain curious, you know? And every day was an adventure. Every day was an education. I did not go to NYU, although I did some films for them there, for the graduate films, which I highly recommend. You learn so much. I auditioned. I was with Central Casting. I was in The Good Wife and Law and Order and a couple other shows and a commercial or two. It was fun. It was exciting. Every day was an amazing transformation of who I was into who I am. It was fun. It really, really was. And it was hard. It was very hard to adjust to that pace and to that cadence of people. But I highly recommend New York City, Big Apple. It's right here with me. Now that's one of my stories. What is your story? What is your empowering story that you love to tell, that you love to share, that sparks that passion in you, that refocuses you from the mundane? Here's the other part of the story, by the way. When I came back, due to family matters, when I came back to Michigan on the train, there is a term out there called repatriatize, and that applies to people in Afghanistan and the U.S. people that went to Iraq, for example. They had to come back, and when they came back, they repatriatized. They had to. They had to readjust to where they used to live, and it wasn't easy. Well, I'll tell you my story. I didn't go to Iraq. I was in New York. But when I came back, I couldn't find my way around. Honestly, I went back to my hometown, okay? And there's these tiny little houses and tiny little stores and tiny, everything tiny, okay? In comparison to skyscrapers and giant museums and things like that. It freaked me out because I was so used to being among the skyscrapers and the diversity and the culture in it. Right now, it's bringing back feelings that are a little wistful, and I miss it a lot now because it's such a part of me. But it took me a while to find out where a local McDonald's was because my sister was going to pick me up, after I got off the train. I didn't have a car. I didn't need a car. What do I need a car for? I sold my car. I had no transportation. What for? If you know anything about New York City, it's best and more economical not to have a car. Anyway, so it took me a while to readjust. I felt like, what's his name? Gulliver in Gulliver's Travels, which is a satire. I felt like a giant among little buildings and people and things, Large steps I took, But after a while, I prayed a little bit, and God helped me to find find the McDonald's restaurant. Anyway, so that's number 10. So what is your empowering story? I would love to hear it, by the way. I interview actors and directors, by the way, on another channel. Ask me about it. Number 9. I have it written down here. Number 9 of success habits of successful actors. Reflect and observe your thoughts. Oh my, if there's one thing I want you to take away from today's lesson is this. Reflection is power. Observation is power. If you want to become a great actor and get paid and build a great, wonderful acting career for yourself and be fulfilled at the same time, you must slow down your pace. You must readjust your habits if there's bad ones or ones that hinder these success habits coming into your life. You've got to slow down. I'll give you an example. I'm sure you've studied a script, right? A script is not a newspaper. You don't just scan it, right? You have to slow down, don't you? You have to observe and set it down and think about the words and what they mean and what the emotions are for the people in your script, for the characters, for your role, for other people in the script that surround your character. Slow down and observe life. Slow down and observe life. If you need to know, if you don't know how to do that, if you're having struggles and need some help in the techniques of slowing down, because there are steps that you can take to actually slow down and become a keen observer of life. It's very important for actors. I can help you with that. I can help you with that. Number 8. This is a big one too. These are all big. Filters and focus. What are you focusing on? Are you focusing on your empowering story? Are you slowing down and observing? Or are you focusing on your perceived failures and how things didn't go quite right for the last audition, for example? What are you focusing on? You can't do anything about your past. Wait, correction. You can do something about your past. You can learn by it. You look in the back. Oh, yeah, I remember when I went through that. Wasn't that great? Okay, well, let me ask you something. How did you learn? What did you learn from looking back? You can look back. That's okay. That was your school back there in your past. But you can't go back. You can't live in the past. It's like the movie Back to the Future. Think about the title for a minute, Back to the Future. They went back and they really kind of messed things up, and they had to keep correcting it because they weren't going towards their future. In a very dramatic sense. I love that movie. But what are you focusing on? Are you focusing on what you can do now and what you learned from the past, what are you focusing on? Focusing is huge when it comes to acting. These are intangibles that I'm giving you. Intangibles are things you can't touch, obviously, but they're more real than the actual physical world. It's why we do what we do. So you have to ask yourself, what are you focusing on? If you want to criticize yourself at all, if you have that propensity, say to yourself, you know, I didn't do well at that last audition, but I learned something. How can I do better? How can I change and do better today? That's a healthy focus. That's the way you should practice thinking and make that habitual. And it'll take time. Life takes time. Acting takes time. So let's move on to number 7. Number 7 of success habits of successful actors. Outside influences. Outside influences. Let me ask you something. Who are you listening to and why are you listening to them? Are they giving you positive feedback? Are they supporting you when you're down? Are these people in your corner? Sort of like Rocky Balboa, you know what I mean? Get in there, Rock! Okay? He had Mickey to help him in the ring to support him through the whole movie. And if you haven't seen Rocky, shame on you. Watch it. So what is your influence? Because those outsiders that talk to you, that give you feedback, eventually they become insiders. Because you take in what they say and you process it either as truth or fiction. Either as facts or, not true. Unapplicable. Okay? If you find, here's the way to trim the fat off your influencers. To set up a support group that actually supports you. It doesn't just hear what you say, they listen and they're concerned and they support you. Here it is. Make a column down your paper and on one side put negative people and positive people. I'm just being plain with you, okay? Negative people, positive people. Put their names down. I don't care if they're family. I don't care if they're friends. I don't care if they're acquaintances or even strangers. I want you to put those names down. First names only if you don't know their last name. But the idea is you must separate them. You've got to separate them. What other type of influences are you having? Are you engaging in? For instance, have you ever watched the 5 o'clock news and you just got so excited and so pumped up and so full of positivity that it's just, hey, honey, I know you missed 5 o'clock news, but you've got to see the 7 o'clock with me. I'll watch it again with you because it has pumped me up. No. It hasn't. It never does. Because 95% of the time, it is negative news. And be sure about this. Those newscasters, they're actors. If anybody are actors, they are. You watch their faces. They talk about the fire that just happened. Or the rape and things like that just, the news, and they have a face that is just very serious and, sincere, maybe. But then they talk about the joyous time in the last 3 minutes of their whole, the whole show, the whole cast, 3 minutes of something that happened that's bright and cheery. Nowadays, I don't even think they include that too much. I don't watch the news. So you've got to watch the bad advice. You've got to listen, and you've got to exercise and think about your personal relationships. Think about the business relationships you have. And distance yourself as much as possible and make changes, make habits to be successful in life and in acting, to separate yourself from those people. Success habit number 6. What are you good at? Find out what you're good at. What are you good at? In fact, let's step back for a minute. What are you great at? What do you love to do that you can do very, very well? Many of my actors, one of them knows 3 or 4 languages fluently. She's a psychologist. Another person does tricks on skateboards, skydives, cooks. He's a chef. There's so many different things that you and I are good at, are great at, and we can actually use them for roles in a film, roles in a play. But you have to be aware, you have to reflect, observe, step back, slow down, analyze your empowering story, and think about what you're good at. So, this is all in your court. I just served it to you. Okay? What are you good at? What do you love to do that you're good at? In fact, let's step back for a minute. If you can't think of everything that you're great at, what are you good at? What are you good at that you want to learn more of? Because you are evolving, you're growing, you're constantly expanding your repertoire, right? As an actor, you should be. So, if you're not good at juggling, get good at it if you like it. Okay? If you're not good at trick cycle writing, get good at it. Be careful, but get good at it. So you tell me, what are you good at that you can improve on? What are you great at that you can actually confidently put down on your resume under special skills? Number 5, work on your strengths, not your weaknesses. Let me ask you something. Have you ever heard a coach, a teacher, a guru, someone out there that said, well, focus on your weaknesses, focus on your weaknesses, build up your weaknesses? How do you feel, honestly? How do you feel when you focus on your weaknesses? You feel weak, right? You feel not above par. You feel like you're almost a failure. Why would you want to focus on? Because if you don't focus on your strengths, guess what? And you focus on your weaknesses, guess which one gets weaker? Your strengths. That's right. Anything you don't pay attention to gets weaker. So focus on your strengths. I'll give you an example. When I was in the university, I took ballet. Now, am I a ballet dancer? No. Okay. I appreciate dance. I love dance. I wanted to try it out. And it has helped me in my cadence and my walk and things through life as well as on stage. However, don't ask me to do any ballet for you. I'll look like a drunk elephant, okay? You don't want to do that. My strengths are acting and singing. I love to sing. So I focus on that because everybody is going to have a weakness or multiple. I can only do a few things very well, okay? So I decide to focus on those. Those are my divine design. Those are my calling. And it actually helps you to be an observer. Remember I said earlier, observe and reflect, observe and reflect. There are dancers out there, I met them in New York City, that have a natural flow about them that you're just like, wow, that was beautiful. Jazz dancing, ballet dancing, hip hop, so many different types. Big band dancing, I love that. So what are your strengths? What do you want to improve upon and focus on that is your strengths and make them even stronger? Because I'll tell you what, the more you focus and move toward what you want to study, that's your strengths, that you're confident in, the better you'll get at it. And the more people will want you for that particular role to help out in a film. Think about that, right? The more you diversify, if you diversify too wide, okay, eventually you lose your peripheral vision. You're going way out of your comfort zone. In this way, it's a bad thing, okay? If you stink at singing, don't sing, not to be cruel, okay? If you focus on whatever you're good at and get better at it. Focus on your strengths. Success habit number 4. Now this success habit mirrors number 9. Number 9 was reflect and observe. So number 4 is slow versus fast. Slow down. Think of what is the slowest animal on the planet just about? The sloth. Now the sloth is very slow. Aren't they? They're very, very slow. Yet they get to where they want. They get to their destination. They reach their destination. Okay? All right. So instead of going fast all the time, fast, 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 more, 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 slow down. If you have a goal to achieve, don't achieve it. Yeah, that's what I said. Say, David, what are you talking about? I want to achieve it, my goals. I want to be bigger, stronger, faster. No. Create your goals. Think about that. Create your goals. They will be achieved, but if you slow down, if you create something sort of like a sculptor working on a piece of clay, okay, or a piece of marble, they have to slow down. They have to reflect. They have to observe. Because if they don't, they're going to mess up. And they have to start all over again. Acting is no different. If you are focused and you slow down, you're going to take in every detail, learn from every life experience, take in a relationship, examine things. Socrates said, the unexamined life isn't worth living. It's pretty harsh, but it's true. Slow down instead of going fast all the time. Fast does not build confidence. I don't know if you knew that or not. Because if you learn things quickly, if you, like in high school, you cram an exam. You ever hear that? You cram an exam the night before. You might get a good grade, but what did you get out of the study? Besides, lack of sleep? You didn't get anything. You have to carry step by step. Acting is staying in the moment. You've heard that too, I'm sure. Staying in the moment of the scene, because anytime you shift and you think too far ahead, you're out of the moment, and the scene has to be done over again because it doesn't look real, doesn't look like real life. Slow down, don't go fast, because you're going to get to your destination anyway. You're going to achieve your goal anyway. But on the way, you're going to learn so much more. Actor success habit number 3. No versus yes, or yes versus no. Have you ever said yes to something and regretted it later because it took something away from your time, away from your creativity, away from your goals and your destiny? I know I have. Many times we fall into this habit of people-pleasing too much. And I understand why. Number one, you and I, as actors, artists, writers, etc., we are very sensitive, more so than the average Joe or Josephine. It's how we're wired. It's how God wired us, okay? And many times we give too much away. I'll give you an example. You see this cup? Okay, all right. Say it's empty, which actually it is, okay? It's empty, almost. Can you give anything? If you gave this to a thirsty person, could they drink? No. You would have to fill it up, right? And then give it to them, and then they would be able to drink. Okay? All right, you got that? Good. So, here it is. This is you. This is you right here. If you fill it up all the way to overflowing, then whatever's in the cup is yours. Whatever overflows belongs to other people. Okay? So our duty, if you really want to be nice to somebody, if you really want to say yes more than no, then you're going to have to be a little self-full. It's not selfish, it's self-full. Because if you're filled up with good health and good opportunities and wonderful auditions and wonderful education and everything that entails life and acting, you got to fill yourself up. You got to take the time to fill yourself up. Then when someone comes along and asks you, hey, could you help me out with this? Hey, could you teach me this? Etc., whatever the circumstances is. What they get is the overflow, because you're constantly filling yourself up. So you have to measure out. Life is a teeter-totter, okay? All right, you're right in the middle. And it goes up and down with our emotions and with circumstances and how we handle choices in life. Okay? You have to figure out when to say yes and when to say no. Your emotions are blind. They can't see, okay? They can't see. There's this, I was once a very avid aquarist, all right? And I loved aquariums, and I still do, and fish. And this one little fish, okay, right there, okay? It was called the blind cave fish. I thought it was fantastic because it was sort of like well, I can't say a dolphin, dolphins can see, but a blind cave fish it had sonar. It was born without eyes. And so as it swam, it would send out, I did a lot of study on this, it would send out sonar, reverberations, that bounced off of a rock or the glass or whatever, and it came back and redirected. And you could see it was turning, you know. Once in a while it bumped into things. But my point of that is, emotions are like a blind cave fish. They are. They have no intelligence. God did not give us emotions to live by. He gave us emotions to guide by. How do you guide it? With your mind. With your mind, okay? You guide your emotions. Should I say no? By the way, if you say maybe, you're on the fence. Or I'll think about it, you're on the fence. If you find that it's interrupting something very important in your life, say no. If you find that, you know what, I'm financially secure, I can do this for you, yes, but just this once, or whatever the case is, okay? But you have to measure your lifetime on a teeter-totter, okay? You got to balance yourself. Don't always say yes, and don't always say no. Actor success habit number 2, pain versus suffering. Ooh, this is a big one. Pain versus suffering. What's the difference between pain and suffering? Well, pain is, ow, that hurt. Something hurt, right? Your nervous system reacted, your emotions reacted. It's something hurt. You got your feelings hurt. You got your body hurt. You're hurt in different ways. Pain. Pain is your friend. I said that once in a video. Pain is P-A-I-N. Persistent action is needed. It alerts you, right? Pain alerts you that something is wrong and it needs to be taken care of. Now, the difference, remember the teeter-totter? Okay? The difference between pain and suffering is continually regretting and feeling the pain even after it's over for years, months, for years. Many people do that. For example, well, I got a divorce. I'm never going to get married again. I'm never going to go through that again because every woman or every man, they suck. I don't want anything to do with it anymore at all. Or one time I had food poisoning, right? And it was fish. I like fish. Fish is good. However, I went to a fish fry at a church, and the next day I wanted to die because I had food poisoning. Now, did I give up? Did I give up after I got up? Did I give up fish? No. I love salmon. I love perch. I love things like that. It's wonderful. My grandfather used to catch perch constantly. Him and I used to go out fishing every weekend, practically. My point is that I went through some pain, but I'm not going to suffer for it. See, remember the blind cave fish, right? You have to learn from your experiences. Oop, I bumped into that rock. Okay, I have to send out more sonar to figure out not how to not be in that same position again. You can't completely rule out life. If you rule out life, you rule out acting too, because acting is life and life is acting. Suffering is not necessary. Suffering is this. Little acting scene here. How could you do this to me? I didn't deserve it. I won't stand for it anymore. Did you notice? Me, myself, and I. It has to do with ego. You're not the only one who's been through rough times. You're not the only one who's been through something unique. Nothing is unique. The book of Ecclesiastes says, there is nothing new under the sun. In other words, why do you think they make intervention organizations? They make the AA, Alcoholics Anonymous, because many people have different circumstances but the same problem. Okay, so there is no need to suffer. Do you ignore the pain? No, but you think about it. You guide that emotion, which is the reverberation of things that happen to you. You learn to say yes and no. You reflect. You step back. Remember your empowering story. See how all these success habits are coming together? Yeah. So there is a difference between pain and suffering. We have to divide and conquer them. Okay? And you have to choose one side of the teeter-totter or the other. You can't choose both. Besides, teeter-totter is fun. It's a playground. Life is a playground. Learn to play. Why do you think they call theater play? Because acting is supposed to be fun. Okay? Success habit number 1. Now, number 1 ties in to all the other 9. Your empowering story, filters and focus, reflect and observe, outside influences. What else? Slow versus fast. Find out what you're good at. Focus on your strengths, not your weaknesses. Here it is. You ready? Here it is. Okay, here it is. Clarity of vision. Ooh, big. Clarity of vision. What is clarity of vision? Picture this, okay? If you wear glasses, even if you don't, maybe your eyes are watering. Maybe there's smoke in your eyes, and but you don't have clear vision, okay? When you don't have a clear vision, you can't focus. When you don't have a clear vision of your life and of your acting career and what you really, really want, you can't slow down because you're nervous, because you're preoccupied with things, and you can't say yes or no because you can't see. And all those other things that I mentioned, okay? All right? You can't pick out what is a good influence and a bad influence in your life because you can't see, okay? You can't see. Clarity of vision is everything. That's why you have to slow down, reflect, and observe what's going on with you, spiritually speaking, physically speaking, mentally speaking, emotionally speaking, and of course, financially speaking. Clarity of vision means you know what you want, and you're going to get it. You're going to create it, not achieve it. You're going to create it. What do you want to create in your life? Create in your professional life, in your acting career. Where are you going? Where is your GPS? Is it on? GPS lost. No. Sometimes it's lost, okay? I like to say not global positioning system, okay? But what I like to say is God positioning system, GPS. Because I tell you what, the little voice in the little box, okay? GPS, GPS, it doesn't work all the time, okay? A little cloud in your eyesight can, you lose direction, okay? GPS lost. Okay? But God never sleeps. He always watches everything. Okay? And He loves you on top of all that, no matter what. So, what's your GPS? Is it on? How is your vision? How is your vision for your life? The Bible says, without a vision, my people perish. My people. Isn't that nice? My people. He calls us His people. Think about that. Wow. But without a vision, you perish. Do you want your acting career to perish? Do you want your relationships to perish? You got to keep an open mind, open vision. Okay? You got to take good care of your physicality. This is wrapping it up here. The success habits of successful actors. Say that 5 times fast. How is your clarity of vision when it concerns your walk with God? How is your clarity of vision when it comes to your health, your physical health, your diet, your exercise, or lack thereof? How clear is your vision when it comes to your psychology, what you believe in, your beliefs, your BS, belief system? Is it current? Is it up to date? Or is it FBS? Faulty belief system or false belief systems. Don't think that. Your emotions. Emotion. Okay? Emotion. Your emotions move you. Literally. They move you physically, mentally, spiritually, emotionally, financially. They need guidance. Okay? You're not a blind cave fish. You were born with eyesight. And if you aren't, I apologize. But you have an instinct. You have an inner vision. Put it that way. Let's go there. You have an inner vision of who you're supposed to be, who you're supposed to become, but you need to pay attention to it. You can see with your eyes closed. You can see your life. Close your eyes right now and picture your life as you want it to be. Picture your life as you want it to be. Not as it is. Without a vision, my people perish. Okay? Good. So, if you need a coach, I may be the one for you. Look me up at davidthompsoncoaching.co, davidthompsoncoaching.co. 45-minute free coaching consultation. And contact me. I would love to help you. Please subscribe to this channel and share it. I hope this has been fun. I hope you learned something. If you have the comments below or something that you don't understand, comments below. I love questions. I love people that ask questions and want to learn and grow. That's what I do for a living. I'm an acting coach. I'm a certified life coach with Tony Robbins. Okay, so that's about it. I'm going to let you guys go. And thank you for watching my video lesson.